Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard is back on Front Street. Yes, she is running her mouth again, and we've got some fresh footage to share with you, this ridiculous interview that she did, and I am going to tell you exactly what it means, what's behind it, and why that I know for a fact that the FBI case is going to heat up in 2026. That's right. I'm calling it out right now. We're going to have a lot of fun in the new year, and I'm going to show you what's behind the deflection, what her purpose is for doing this, and why she finds it necessary to start running her mouth and doing videos. And watch all the way to the end, because the end of the video, I will show you the evidence, the proof of what went down in November that proves that she is about to be in some serious hot water. That's right. It's gonna be a good year, and we're gonna have fun with this again. And for all you people that thought that she got off the hook, well, think again, because she's not gonna get off the hook. Now, we're gonna break down these 3 video clips, listening to Tiffany running her mouth, making some valid points, and other points that are nothing more than a deflection. And I'm going to tell you why some of the things that she has to say you actually should listen to. Because even though we know that she is a complete consummate crook and criminal, allegedly, some of the things that she said is valid. And y'all need to educate yourself and actually learn from her, especially you people in the south side of Chicago, in the suburbs, in Dalton, and everywhere else. So let's cut to this first clip and listen to her talking about why all of this is a distraction as she jumps back on the Trump train. Let's cut to the clip.
There's also been a growing conversation that, back to the Democratic Party we're talking about, that Black Republicans are more professionally and financially successful than Democrats, than Black Democrats. What's your thoughts, what's your take on that?
Yeah, I can see that. I think they got more structured, more strategic. And I think they move a little different because they listen.
What do you mean when you say they listen?
We over talk. Nobody can educate you because you think you know everything. And that's the problem that people have. And that's why we miss the message. And I think that's what's wrong with America now. We all want to be heard, but no one's pausing to listen. I think I'll say Trump just gave everybody $2,000.
Well, did the $2,000 pass?
Yeah, I heard he did.
I heard it. I didn't hear too much about it.
But I haven't seen nothing yet to say, hey, look what he just did. But that's what everyone's stating. Right. But again, that's what I mean about research. But he got a lot of great ideas, but sometimes people got to just pause on the noise. Y'all distracting us with all this other nonsense that really don't matter to the people. What we care about is what are you doing for the people. Right. But you're distracting us with this file, that file, this case. Okay, what we gonna do? Come on, all this time, like, please stop. But if they do though, it's a distraction until we wake up and see that it's a distraction to keep us from asking for important things like you just stated. Right. When we gonna do that?
I love it. Well said. Yeah. I like you, Tiffany.
Yeah,
Miss Tiffany.
Trump just gave everybody $2,000. Okay. Pause on the noise. Because, see, this is the setup. Very slick, Tiffany. This is the setup to the distraction because the heat is about to come on. Now, it was a great distraction because it was pretty valid. You brought up some very valid points, talking about Black Republicans more professionally and financially successful than Black Democrats. Well, that's facts. And why we see that, in my opinion, is because the Black Democrats want you to stand in line waiting for your handouts and your reparations, or standing out there in Thornton Township for your free rotten food boxes. Yeah. While the Black Republicans are saying, okay, where can we leverage ourselves out in this economy based on what is being presented to us, so that there's validity there. All right. So she says, do y'all research, deal with the facts, no fiction. That's fine. We'll deal with facts. But again, all right, she says Democrats aren't doing anything for the Black community. That's valid. She's just jumping on the Republican and the Trump train to distract because she knows she's in trouble while making statements that are partially true. And yeah, Democrats don't do anything for the black community, and Chicago is a prime example. What did you guys do in Chicago? You vote for Brandon Johnson, the savior of the black community. What does he do? Well, he takes $1 billion and hands it over to the illegal aliens. Yep, he gives them a free ride while telling the black community, we don't have any money left for you. And that's why you're seeing all of the conflict and turmoil in the South Side. You can go watch the city council meetings yourselves and see what Flip Chicago Red or Chicago Flips Red is doing. So that's valid. That is valid. We'll just watch Chicago be destroyed and continue to fizzle out. So she did bring up a good point there. But again, that's nothing but a distraction from the heat that's about to come up on that ASS. Tiffany, you are going to be on fire in 2026. All right, so that's clip one. That's clip one. Let me know what you think about that. Post your comments right now about her comments concerning black Democrats and black Republicans. Do you think black Democrats have done anything or are doing anything for the black community? And now we'll jump to clip two. And here's some more somewhat outrageous statements and some facts. Here we go. Cut to the clip.
So you certainly landed during a trying time in the world. There's been a lot of conversation lately about members of the black community leaving the Democratic Party.
Ooh.
Yes, that's been the topic of the day on social media, like in the podcast world. Have you heard anything about that?
Oh, yes. They talking, honey.
They are
talking.
They are talking. What's your thoughts about that?
I'm really, really happy that people are entertaining the conversation. I really want people to educate themselves so they understand who does what, how it works, and what's the process.
Right.
Because everybody's pointing the finger at they did it, left, right, okay, whatever.
Right.
But no one's coming with facts. People just talking because they don't like someone. I want people this time around to actually go do your research. Then you can speak with facts and not fictional.
Well, one thing that I've heard from a lot of people is that a lot of people are saying that people keep voting for Democrats or keep voting Democrat, but the Democrats aren't doing anything for the black community.
That's true.
So
I lived it. That's true.
You lived it. You mean
I lived it because I am a Democrat. I ran as a Democrat, and if you go check my voting record, that's what I always pull, a Democrat ballot. And Democrats really need some help, and I'm here to say it proudly that a lot of them don't belong in the seats that they're in. Residents have to really research them and stop listening because they say they're a Democrat don't mean they for you. Mm-hmm. They're normally for themselves. You have to really pay attention and change the narrative that we see right now.
Right.
Because right now, Republicans are doing a good job to me. This is my opinion.
No, of course.
Everybody got their own opinion.
Everyone has their own opinion.
What, when, where. I'm only speaking because I lived it. By me being a Democrat, and my very own is the ones that was attacking me. Right. And they're Democrats.
Right.
So make it make sense. And then once they got the seat, they did nothing for the people. So.
And you mean the seat back home where you're from?
Back home in Illinois.
Okay.
Yeah, in Illinois, yes.
So what's your thoughts right now on Donald Trump's and the way his campaign is going for the United States?
Well, I think that, again, people should educate themselves before judging. Because a lot of time people always judge a book by its cover. You got to open it up and read.
Right.
If you read, you will find out other truths that is not being broadcast by the fake news. So
I love that. Everybody, I pulled up some of his key achievements. So we're gonna break this down.
Okay.
While we're diving into all things Donald Trump, and these are a few of his key recent achievements.
Okay.
One, the most big thing is the One Big Beautiful Bill,
yes,
where he's allegedly delivering one of the largest tax cuts in history. Mm-hmm. Another thing is reducing the federal workforce. Mm-hmm. Something else I found was tightening up border and immigration enforcement, where he declared a national emergency at the border. And lastly, he's working on a Golden Dome missile defense system. So some analysts argue that they don't necessarily help the people, while some are skeptical and some are saying that these type of things that he's doing are only going to help the rich. get ahead. So my question to you is, do you think any of the key achievements I just listed are going to leave a good mark in history for his campaign as for really helping not the rich, but the working class people?
I do. I think Trump means well, and I think he does a great job on giving back to the people. I really do. In the bill, he had other things that give people tax breaks. I did read over it, and I think that, again, if people educate themselves, they will find what I'm finding instead of listening to somebody that just don't like someone just because of what you heard about, but don't even know if it's true. You know? So
I hate that. I'm a researcher.
Me
I'm not gonna be the one to not like somebody because of what the media or what anybody is saying.
That's what they do.
Child, that's childish.
That's a hate campaign.
That's definitely we don't do hate campaigns at Lava Carisha, honey.
Yep.
We go off the heart.
Yes, that part.
Okay, they talking, honey. They entertaining the conversation and educating themselves. All right, okay, so that was an interesting clip there. And again, a lot of valid points, but what's the purpose of that? Why is she bringing up all these points? So she wants us to do our research again, okay? We're supposed to do our research and focus on distractions and not on her dirty deeds. But I'm sorry, Tiffany, but the cat is already out of the bag. You can go back and look at my tree trimming video and see when I uncovered the alleged corruption going on with those no bid contracts. Everything that she's done is still there. And it's all in the Dalton board meeting archives. And as I've always said, there's gold in them thar hills. And you gotta know that the FBI has probably dug through every second of all of the hours of those meetings in the Dalton board meeting archives. And there's no way that she's going to get around it. So she's bringing all this stuff up to change the narrative and get us to gloss over all the dirt that she's done. Now, it is interesting that she says that she is a loyal, lifelong Democrat, but that a lot of them Democrats don't belong in their seats. Now, that's true. I'll agree with you there. And she says that them Democrats, they ain't for you. They for themselves. And that is also something that I can say, yeah, that's a true statement because, you vote them into office and what happens? You get nothing. You don't get a dadgum thing. And again, you saw it in Chicago where the Democrat gets into office, tells you there's no money for the black community, no money for your schools, no money for your boys and girls clubs, your playgrounds, your parks, your streets, but we're going to just hand over $1 billion to the illegals because, of course, we got to get those votes. So I'll give her that. That is true, but it's not going to cover up your dirt, Tiffany. It's not going to work. So then she goes on to say that the Republicans, they doing a good job to me. Oh, so you think that sucking up to the Republicans is going to save you? Do you think that that's a lifeline? It's not going to work. It's definitely not going to work. But good job in trying because we do need to unbrainwash the portion of the black community that is controlled by the Democratic Party. There are some good Democrats, but none of them are in Illinois. I'm going to tell you that right now. You got a good one in Pennsylvania with Tom Fetterman. That's one of my favorite Democrats. And I've talked about my favorite Democrats. A lot of them have been kicked out of the party because the Democrats of today are not the Democrats of yesterday and the people that I voted for in the past. So good points there. Those are valid, but it's not going to save you. So then she talking about Democrats attacking her, turning on her. Well, I'm sorry, Tiffany, but that's because you did the dirt. It's not political. Anybody that's come up against you, Democrats and Republicans, it's because you did the dirt. Now, there's still a ton of black Democrats in the Chicago area who don't like you, but even though they are loyal Democrats and will always vote blue no matter who and get more Tiffany Henyards and Brandon Johnsons in the future, that doesn't mean that what they exposed you for isn't true, okay? That's not political. It's because you did the dirt. So then you're going to jump on the Trump train, jump on the Trump bandwagon, and think that that's going to save you and hide your record of corruption, alleged corruption. Well, I don't think it's going to work. Even though I do agree that, your comments on Trump's policies like shutting down the border, we went from one administration that let 20 million people in. We gave them all the money that they needed, billions and billions of dollars, quite frankly, quite possibly billions, while we say no money for black people. Reparations, dream on, that's a pipe dream, but we can give an unlimited amount of money to illegals. So Trump shut the border down. I'll give her that. That is true. Big, beautiful bill, pumping money into the economy, lowering taxes. That's all true. I will agree that that is something that's going to help everybody and something that we can tap into. But they're not going to come to your defense. If you think the Republicans are going to jump on your bandwagon just because you're sucking up to Trump, well, you got another thing coming, because they ain't thinking about you, Tiffany. Suck up all you want. It won't make a hill of beans difference. It's just a hate campaign. Yeah, we do know it's just a hate campaign, but they're not going to save you from that hate campaign just because you're sucking up to the other party. Let's jump to the final clip, and then at the end, I'm going to show you the evidence of why this investigation is going to pop off in 2026. All right, so let's cut to the last clip of Tiffany running her mouth. Here we go. Cut to clip.
When you step down and somebody take over the pantry back in Illinois?
Well, I didn't step down. I lost my seat over in Illinois, and basically it's a different person that stole the election. So all the stuff that, I will say this about Trump, that Trump states, fake news, election rigging, stealing seats, it is happening. Because it's happening in Illinois. And I was right there to see it at the caucus in December of 2024, where a person came and stole the election. They didn't even let the people in to vote.
What?
Yes, it was voter suppression at its worst. The news covered it. They saw it all, but guess what? No one did anything. People signed affidavits saying they wanted their vote to count, did not count. And that person just stole the seat.
Those are very shocking revelations. So
Yes.
What can we do about that?
Well, the people got to stand up. They got to take a stance, and they can't go mute. They have to come together as a whole, not just 1, 2, 3, 100, 200. It has to be thousands of people to take a stance against corruption, against election rigging. That's why it's a lot of things that Trump said. He's right on point.
Right.
Because I've seen it and I lived it.
I want to go back a little bit about the stealing of the seats back home. So you're saying the person who's in office now back in your city where you came
Correct.
from, you don't think he got that position fair and square?
And I know he did not get that seat fair and square.
Okay.
I know that for a fact because my name was part of being chosen as the supervisor, and several other people that want to put their name in the hat. A caucus. A caucus is where people go and they have one day where the residents come out and they can vote for who they want to place on the ballot. That's how they used to do it way back yonder.
Right.
And now they brought that same thing back, and they had people in the building that was not registered to vote, did not live in Thornton Township, and basically they was in there voting. And that's what I mean by what Trump's saying is true. That is happening in the Democrat Party.
Oh, Lord. Is that what drove you to leave the city and come to Atlanta, or was that part of it?
Well, yes, that's part of it. Basically, I came here for opportunity and growth and basically have a better opportunity for our kids.
Okay, that was cute. So the election was stolen from her. Yeah, all right, it was. You know, the points that you made were valid, but here's the thing. Democrats will turn on you, and they will cheat, and they will cut corners to get your butt out of office by all means necessary. They went dirty on a few things, but they had a reason to do it, and we don't have any sympathy for you, and nobody's going to have sympathy once all of your dirt is brought back up to the surface again when this case gets on the front burner in 2026. So trying to compare how you were done wrong in that election, which, you know, she slightly was, she would have lost anyway. You know, they didn't have to cheat and cut corners. They should have just let it go to a vote. All right. That's the mistake that the Democrats made. They were willing to cut corners and cheat, and we can't invalidate those points that she made, but they should have just done it legit and let her lose by a very valid and legal type of election without the cheating, without bringing up the caucus thing that hadn't been done in like 100 years. So that was all valid, but it's still not going to work It's still not going to work. And people certainly are not going to stand up and come together against corruption when you, Tiffany, you were the textbook example for corruption with politicians worldwide. You put yourself on Front Street on a worldwide stage with what you did with your corruption, alleged corruption. So don't sit back and think that people are going to stand up for you now when the evidence is still there. All right, now let's get to the good stuff. We're going to have to go to the courtroom for this. Let's flip to the courtroom. All right, this court is in session. Court is in session. I'm going to tell you what's been happening behind the scenes, what happened in November, and why 2026 is going to be a bad year for former Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard. And here's the reason why. Keith Freeman and Louis Lacy, they have been in court. They were in court on November the 19th and November the 21st, one right after the other. And why were they in court? Well, it was for a change of plea hearing. Oh boy, a change of plea. And you know what that means. What that means is they're changing their pleading, where they were saying, hey, I didn't do nothing wrong. I didn't steal no money. I didn't do anything corrupt, behind the scenes, no kickbacks, none of that. Well, they're changing their stories. Why? Because they're trying to get their own sentences reduced. So you got the November 19th hearing that took place for the bankruptcy fraud against Keith Freeman. That included the false statements and all of his concealed income that he did not report when he did his 7th bankruptcy filing. All right. Now, it didn't say that he was pleading guilty, but it did say that he was changing his plea. I'm assuming that he's going to go ahead and say, yeah, I did a lot of this stuff. Now, with Mr. Potato, Louis Lacy, the man who is he's got those big Mr. Potato Head hips, he did plead guilty. So in his change of plea hearing, he changed the story completely, and that is confirmed. And he agreed to cooperate with the federal investigators. Okay? So now, what does this mean? Well, this is going to spell disaster for Tiffany. Now, even though they don't even have the court cases set up where they're going to drop the convictions down on these two guys, which are going to be reduced sentences, they don't have the court dates yet at all. But what this means is that when they do, they're going to give them their sentencing after they've admitted to all of what they did and after they have cooperated with the feds, which probably means that they're going to give up all the information that they have on Tiffany Henyard. And that is going to spell disaster. Yep, disaster for the super mayor. So here's what I'm thinking is going to happen. It's going to be about 3 months to 6 months. We're going to be looking at, spring to midsummer, and then it's going to go down. And I'm going to be watching. I'll watch the Pacer court documents, and as soon as they have a date listed for those trials, for those court dates where they're going to finally sentence Mr. Lacy and Mr. Freeman, I will let you know. And that's when the action is going to begin. And that's when the Tiffany Henyard show is going to start over and enter into a new chapter. And we're going to be there for every step of it. I had given up. I was going to not report on Tiffany Henyard and all this mess anymore because it practically has ruined my channel. I'm in the Tiffany Henyard pigeonhole where none of my videos get doled out to the subs unless it's about Tiffany Henyard. And so that's why I decided I was going to drop reporting on anything with her. But we're going to continue on, and I am going to have to jump on this bandwagon and enjoy this because we got too much time, effort, and energy into following all of the debauchery to not cover this once it goes down in mid-2026. So you won't hear me talking about Tiffany much for a while. We're going to get into other topics, all right? But when this goes down, I'll be the first right there to report on it. And I want to send a shout out to Cafe of Knowledge. Give her a round of applause. You need to watch her video. I'm going to post a link to the video. I listened to the whole 1 hour and 20 minutes. It was excellent. And she's talking more in depth about Freeman and Lacey, okay? And after I heard that video, I was convinced, yeah, she is right. She called it. It's going to heat up in 2026. It's going to heat up. Hit the like button if you haven't just yet. And if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. I got so much stuff coming your way. Oh, boy. I'm going to be comparing Tiffany Henyard to Jasmine the Ghetto Crockett. Ghetto Jasmine Crockett. And I'm going to tell you why I've got more respect for Tiffany Henyard than I do Jasmine Crockett. That's coming up. But you'll just have to wait for it. So tick that notification bell because it's going to be coming your way. And I'm sure that a lot of people are going to be upset when you hear what I have to say. But it's all facts. It's all facts, people. Look for it. It's coming soon. That's all we got for this one. I'm out.